versus Alvarado as a case to say that age is not an important factor one must consider. Yarbrough versus Alvarado merely says that age is not a positive factor. Age is not, you can't look at a case and say, oh, because the defendant is 27 3/4, she's in custody. You can't, Alvarado merely says that age is not the only factor. It's part of the totality of circumstances test. Also, Ms. Ham brings up the fact that they were having a friendly conversation. Officer Wright and my client were having a friendly conversation. An officer cannot merely come up to a person and start saying nice things like, oh, how was your day? And, oh, I didn't know you liked jumping rope. And make a custodial interrogation into a non-custodial interrogation.
But those questions that you just hypothesized, oh, it's a nice day, you like jumping rope, are those interrogation questions in advance?
No.
Okay, so an officer can approach somebody and say that.
But doing that does not turn... having a friendly conversation with the suspect before... You can't just have a police officer cannot have a friendly conversation with the suspect during a custodial interrogation and turn it into a non-custodial interrogation.
Right, but if the officer goes up to Ms. McElroy and starts saying it's a nice day, you have a great binder, I sure hope you have a good suit for a trial against Menlo, I mean, those are all innocuous questions, they're not interrogation questions, right?
No.
Okay, so why can't the officer say that? Are you saying that they trapped your client?
I'm not saying they can't, but I'm saying that Ms. Ham suggested that those statements made it because Officer Wright said those statements that it was no longer a custodial interrogation because it was a friendly conversation. Officer Wright was interested in how Adrian was doing in swimming. But rather, I'm saying that those statements, you can't just say, the police can't say those statements and make a custodial interrogation to a non-custodial interrogation.
Continue.
Also, Ms. Ham brought up Stansbury. Stansbury says that if a person is a suspect,
1 minute.
it doesn't matter unless it affects how the person is being questioned and how the police are interacting with them. The fact that Ms. Vega is a suspect clearly affects how her interrogation has come about. The police comparing her interrogation to Tony's, you see major differences in how they went out, in the length, in the form of questioning, and that clearly shows that it has affected. So therefore, by looking at the totality of circumstances, the police-dominated environment, you can understand that Ms. Vega was in custody, and the defense respectfully requests that Your Honor find the statements made by Ms. Vega under the custodial interrogation inadmissible in court today.
Ms. Farley, you continue to say that I should look at the DeLuca interrogation and compare it to your client's interrogation, but I don't recall you giving me any case authority for that.
That is simply simply giving you a baseline to compare it to. Another interrogation under very similar circumstances to compare it to. So you can look at it and say this fact is different than this fact, so you can apply the facts to the situation.
And do I understand your argument to be that your client is in custody, your client is in custody outside of the car where the police are?
That's where custody first becomes present. Custody also goes stronger when she actually goes into the car, and custody becomes very, very present when Officer Wright goes to the front of the car and closes the car door on Adrian.
So is custody a continuum, then a line?
Well, custody can be present at many points. Custody is an issue that mixes subjective and objective factors. So by looking at subjective factors, it can become a sort of gradient that from one perspective she can be in custody at another point and another perspective.
All right, so your bottom line argument is your client's in custody when she's in the police car and the door's shut.
And the door's shut.
All right, so I want to make sure Ms. Ham has an opportunity to address that. All right, anything else, Ms. Bauer?
No.
All right, thank you, Ms. Ham.